All right, so welcome to the Mason Talks Browns post-game live stream. Hey, only about 3 hours after the game ended, but that's fine. The Browns lost this game, as you all know already. Final score was 20-13. It was a just disheartening game for the Cleveland Browns because, as we all know, this game basically lifts the Steelers into some serious wild card contention, and it knocks the Browns out. We suck. Yeah, I completely agree. We suck. Turn off the TV. Yeah, I wanted to. The Browns are trash. We can't best Brandon Allen. We can't beat Duck. I almost said Duck Allen. Duck Hodges. That was my, frankly, biggest takeaway from this game. Was just the fact that, despite the fact that Devlin Duck Hodges, was the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, we couldn't beat him. And that was really concerning because it does give you back, flashbacks to the loss to, Brandon Allen and the Denver Broncos. And it's concerning because it brings up a question. Why can't the Cleveland Browns be ready for games against everybody? It seems like we only come to play when we have to. We only come to play when it feels like there's actual, like, anytime the media talks about the other team as if there's no chance the Browns should lose, it seems like the Browns are reading into those press clippings and taking that opponent for granted. And it seems like they did it again today because the Browns went out there and they sucked. They were awful. I mean, it wasn't complete and utter just dysfunction. Like, this was the quintessential Cleveland Browns 2019 loss because they gave us hope at the beginning. I mean, the Browns looked pretty good in the first quarter, and then they just fell apart. And it all came to a crashing halt right at the end of the first half when Baker Mayfield got hurt. Garrett Gilbert came in, and Freddie kept throwing it, which was kind of dumb. But one number that I read in one of the post-game reviews that I thought was crazy, the Browns in the first quarter had the ball for 11 minutes and 41 seconds. In the first quarter, we had the ball for almost the entire first quarter. We didn't give Pittsburgh a chance. And then in the second half, completely different story. Completely different situation. In the second half, the entire second half, third and fourth quarter, the Browns had the ball for 12 minutes and 35 seconds. So we had the ball for the entire first quarter, and then Pittsburgh completely had the ball for the entire second half. And that, I mean, I think the main reason is because the Browns panicked under pressure. And they've done that all season. And it's a, clear sign of immaturity and just kind of an overall sense of unreadiness. I don't know if that's a word, from the Cleveland Browns. And, it's like Freddie Kitchens. I don't understand why he can't stick to the run when the game is tied. Like, if we blow a lead of any sort, Freddie Kitchens immediately just starts going into an air raid offense. It's all Baker. Baker's the only player. We don't hand it to Chubb anymore. We don't hand it to Kareem Hunt anymore, even though they're dominant running backs. We immediately put all the pressure on Baker, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work like that. Three things. Okay, I think the main reason we lost this game was because of the defense. I thought that the defense looked shorthanded because obviously they were. Missing Demarius Randall was it. I mean, I thought it was pretty evident since Duck Hodges was dropping deep bombs on us. Greedy Williams played awful in the first half, and he was injured, I think, for most of the second half. Greedy Williams has been bad. Greedy Williams has not been good. And Denzel Ward hasn't necessarily been great either. I think that it's very clear that we're missing both of our starting safeties. One of our starting cornerbacks was hurt half the game. Denzel Ward didn't really show up in any big way. We couldn't put any pressure on Devlin Hodges. Devlin Hodges had all the time in the world to throw the football. I mean, we couldn't pass rush. This was the, I knew that not having Myles Garrett would be, bad, but I didn't know that I didn't think it would be this bad. I didn't think that it would be this evident. Like, we couldn't pressure him in the second half. Chad Thomas had a sack in like the first quarter, maybe second quarter. And then there really weren't any great pass rushes the rest of the game. We gave Devlin Hodges all the time in the world to make these plays. The Steelers were their whole offense, quit making excuses, missing their whole offense. Yeah, I know. I know they were missing their whole offense. That's what makes it even more embarrassing. That's what makes it even more embarrassing, because they weren't prepared. That's where coaching factors in. But the fact that we didn't have a defense, I mean, like, if the Steelers had no pass rush and if Baker had that much time to throw the football, Baker would be dicing up the defense too. The Browns were just unprepared. That's why the biggest mismatch in this game was clear. Mike Tomlin over Freddie Kitchens. Mike Tomlin got the most out of his players. Benny Snell, he was absolutely killing our defensive line. Duck Hodges, he looked pretty solid. James Washington, I think, was the receiver who was absolutely killing us. The Pittsburgh Steelers were just a more mature football team. They have their stuff put together. They're better prepared. They're a more ready football team. They're a more mature football team. So when we lose, no blame goes to Mayfield. You surely give him big credit when we win. Yeah, because Baker carried us to these last few wins. How many Browns jerseys do you have? I don't know. I sure do have a lot of bad players. I know that I have a Barkevious Mingo in there. I know that I have Johnny Manziel. Well, the Browns blow it. Please fire Freddie Kitchens. That's what it seems like it's coming to, because they're so inconsistent. But I would say, you have to give Freddie the rest of the year. But it sure does look like the Browns aren't improving. They're not learning. They're suffering the same mistakes every single week. And it's concerning. Like, I think that best case scenario, we go 7-9, because I'm not confident we're going to beat the Arizona Cardinals. Definitely not confident in our abilities against the Baltimore Ravens. I think we can beat Cincy, but can we beat them twice? Who knows? Fire Freddie Kitchens, hire Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley needs to be willing for that. Do you think the Browns will do better in 2020? I think that for the Browns to do better, they need to get 2 new tackles. That was another thing that was really evident in this game. Chris Hubbard and who the heck was our left tackle? Austin McCray, whatever that guy's first name is. McCray and Hubbard were bad, and they couldn't protect Baker at all. And Baker had a pass rush in the backfield every single play. And that was something that the Steelers definitely did better. Their tackles were prepared, and they were keeping Duck Hodges alive. Odell throws our whole energy off when we have to give him the ball because of his name. That's true. Too bad there isn't a way for both teams to lose, because they're both true 2018 losers. Listen, I don't know how. Somehow we're going to do worse than we did last year. Like, we're going to win the same amount of games and do worse than we did last year, because we're going to be 7-9 instead of 7-8-1. Tackling was poor garbage. That's definitely true. And, part of that is because our defense wasn't, Myles Garrett wasn't playing. Demarius Randall wasn't out there. Demarius Randall, I don't know what is up with him. I think I saw that it was an attitude problem, and that's why he didn't play. Hodges had all day. Yeah, that was one of the big things I noticed, was that his offensive line was way better. And another thing for Baker needs to just chill out. Like, Baker needs to stop thinking that he's Lamar Jackson and just throw it. Just throw it when the pass rush is in the backfield. Offense needs to go through Chubb and then let that open up the pass. That's what you would think, and that's what they should do, but that only ever works when the Browns get out and get on top early, because as soon as we fall behind, as soon as things start to get complicated at all, like as soon as teams start to creep back and get close, Freddie Kitchen goes into, ultra aggressive mode and immediately tries to, throw the ball down the field every single play with Baker Mayfield. And it stinks, because that's just not going to work. I think it sucks that, we can't get Nick Chubb the ball more often, even though, he's one of the best running backs in the league. Professional duck caller 6 weeks ago. That's true. And I think that shows how much a good offensive line can help. And, my favorite play of this game, no, it wasn't my favorite play. It definitely was not my favorite play. I thought one of the biggest issues was the fake field goal punt. So that was a solid, that was a solid move by the Browns. I mean, Austin Seibert put it right down in the, he put it right down in the 1 yard line. We couldn't take advantage of that. And, I don't remember who it was. Somebody had an interception a few drives before that. We didn't take advantage of that. The Browns need to learn how to take advantage of opportunities given to us because we haven't done it. We haven't done it. We haven't been able to do it. And we're not able to make opportunities for ourselves. I thought it was really depressing that Joe Hayden had the game-sealing pick. That was pretty depressing. Running backs not covered. Browns were super sloppy. My bit, something about Randall's attitude too. I mean, I don't know what Demarius Randall's thinking. I don't know if this is because of a contract. I don't know if it's because of I don't know. I don't know what Demarius Randall's thinking. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's done to deserve not playing, but they missed him. They sure did miss him. Sheldrick Redwine playoffs. Listen, last week I thought they could make the playoffs. Not this week. It seems to be a week-by-week thing with Freddie Kitchens. They'll come out one week looking really good. They'll come out the next week looking like the worst team in the NFL. I don't understand it. I thought that Freddie Kitchens would start to get better, and, he's not as bad as he was in the first couple of weeks, but Freddie Kitchens isn't making any significant jumps, and it's concerning. It's concerning. It's something that the Browns are going to have to start thinking about as we get closer to the off season. I don't think they'll go 5-11. I think they'll go at the very least. This is so depressing. I think at the very least they'll go 6-10. Oh gosh. OBJ, isn't he under contract? How long is Odell Beckham's contract? I mean, the guy has to be here next year, I think. I think that if the Browns aren't able to get Odell more involved in the offense next season, then I think it's going to start to be a problem with him either complaining or calling for the ball. O-line, and a safety and a linebacker. I was thinking about this because as soon as I saw this loss, I was like, what, time to start thinking about the draft? Let me know if you agree with this. I think that in this draft, the Browns' priority should be left tackle first, right tackle second, a safety, and then I think a tight end. I think the Browns should look for a tight end because I think if the Browns had a guy who was able to be out there consistently and catch passes, I think that would open up a lot of things because Baker loves throwing to tight ends. And David Njoku hasn't been able to be out there consistently. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he hasn't been able to catch passes. Cardinals are better than their record. Yeah, I'm not overlooking them, but I definitely think the Browns could. That's one of the reasons why I think 7-9 is probably something that, that's something that seems realistic. Tight end should be Njoku. I think it depends on if he comes back and how he finishes. David Njoku, I mean, he hasn't really shown us much yet because of, even before the injury, like he didn't start the season strong. And I'm just hoping he learns eventually to catch a football. I mean, the dude has the height. He has good size. He has good strength. He has all the athleticism in the world. But as long as David Njoku can't catch a football, it's gonna stink. He's not gonna be someone that Baker loves to throw to consistently. What about Steve Wilks? Are we going to let him off the hook? I don't know. Defense hasn't been too great this season either. I think that this game specifically was a lot of injuries, but I mean, Denzel Ward's fallen off a little bit. Like I think the whole coaching staff, the entire coaching staff should be held accountable. I don't think it's just Freddie Kitchens. I think it's everybody because nobody seems prepared. Nobody, the offense, defense, nobody seems prepared except for special teams. Special teams is always out there, giving their A game. Steelers could realistically finish 10-6. Yeah, they could. But I think that better teams, I think more professional teams are going to start to expose Duck Hodges. Like, I don't think that Duck Hodges is going to be, I mean, look at Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen's on the bench now because he's not a good quarterback. The Browns made him look good, but he's not a good quarterback. The draft needs to be more good hitters on defense and draft a 6'4" quarterback just in case. Not give it up on Baker Mayfield. Yeah, what happened to Terrence Money Mitchell? Did they have him playing safety? Was he playing some safety today? Seals Jones at tight end. I mean, I thought that he was good earlier in the season. I don't want OBJ here next year. He is a cancer. I'm not Wait, who do the Steelers have? Steelers have the Jets and the Cardinals. See, those are two beatable teams. Especially the Jets can't even beat the Bengals. Here's the thing. Odell Beckham, I don't think he's a cancer. I don't think that he's a guy who's going to get in the way of things if the Browns are winning. But I think that next year, if things start off even a little bit slow and Odell is not getting the ball as much as he wants to, which he's not going to if Baker's his quarterback because Baker spreads the ball, I think we could start to hear the Odell chirping. And I think that that could start to be a little bit concerning and maybe a problem for the Cleveland Browns. Are the Bears more disappointing than the Browns? I mean, the Bears are supposed to have a historic defense, but the Browns are supposed to have a historic offense. I mean, they're like the same team except a little bit backwards. What did you think about Garrett Gilbert? I mean, the dude threw like what, 2 passes? Did he even throw a second pass? Garrett Gilbert, I mean, he's a good backup, but that's it. I mean, I don't even I'm not, I mean, listen. Baker Mayfield, I don't know how injured he was, but that was concerning when he hit his hand on that guy's face mask. I mean, that's the type of thing you see him coming forward with all that force that, you get when you're throwing football. It could be a break, but I mean, he went out there and he played. I think Baker's fine. I thought he came out in the second half and I thought he was still making solid throws. I just think that his offensive line wasn't helping him at all. Yeah, I agree that the tackles on both sides were awful. I mean, there was pressure coming in from each side, and you see it. And it's something that we saw a lot early in the season. You just see the 2 tackles collapse, and Baker has to go forward and then to the right or left, and it's just awful. And I think it's definitely hurting Baker, his ability to run the offense, and just the offense in general. No, the Browns should not tank. I think that tanking would only make things worse. They need to try to finish as best they can, whether that be 9-7 or 7-9. Hopefully not 6-10. The Browns need to try to win as many games as possible because you want to carry something over the next season. You want a little bit of positivity, just not too much for there to be any hype in the offseason like there was. If you think about it, we are the only team who has stopped Lamar Jackson this year. Yeah, that remains one of the biggest mysteries this whole season. Like even the 49ers, who have an incredibly great defense, they couldn't stop Lamar Jackson. But Steve Wilkes found out how to do it. I don't understand that. Lamar Jackson's really good. Baker looked like he bruised his thumb. He wouldn't have been able to grip the football if it was broken. Yeah. I mean, it's not broken, but right off the bat, all I'm saying is that initially, when I saw that play happen, I was like, oh, that could be a break. That could be a break, because he came forward with all of his force and it hit. It looked really weird. Like, it looked like it was like, I don't know. I saw it in slow motion. Let's not forget that the Steelers are statistically ranked top 5 NFL defense. That's true, but you've beat them before. And you should have been able to do it again this week. And they just kind of melted under pressure, I thought. I won't have the hype next year. Yeah, I think that a lesson everybody should learn is we got to wait for the season to see what happens. Yeah, TJ Watt, I'm going to be seeing TJ Watt in my nightmares, and I'm sure Baker Mayfield will too, because TJ Watt, I mean, gets around the edge like whenever he wants because our tackles are bad. Our tackles can't do anything. I mean, Greg Robinson, I missed him. I don't even like Greg Robinson. Like, I think that we should replace everybody. I think all the tackles should be replaced this next season. But I even missed Greg Robinson. It's depressing. Steve Wilkes is so bad. Greedy and Denzel hold when they get deep. Yeah, there were some plays where it looked like there was some clear pass interference by Greedy Williams. I'm not sure like what is happening. It's just that was a little bit confusing. O-line is absolute garbage. Yeah, I completely agree. The offensive line was bad. See, here's the thing. The coaching staff, I know that the most depressing part about the coaching staff is that we're really in like a lose-lose situation because if you bring back Freddie next year, there's a chance that it's just all this over again and that he doesn't learn anything and that the Browns are still unprofessional. But if you get rid of Freddie, you're getting rid of Wilkes, you're getting rid of Todd Monken, and you're basically starting over, and it's going to be another adjustment that Baker Mayfield has to make. And the offense, not just Baker, but the offense in general. And I think it's a double-edged sword. I don't think there's necessarily a good outcome for the coaching staff, unless Freddie Kitchens somehow gets his act together and gets things going. I just think that it's just kind of depressing. It's depressing. I'm at a loss for words about what to do with the coaching staff because there's just like there's no good options. The only good option is Freddie Kitchens getting better, which he hasn't done much of this season. Denzel Ward and Greedy were horrible today. Yeah, they were horrible. Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams were getting beat like every single play. Duck Hodges' best play is just heaving the ball, like just heaving it as far as he can and hoping one of his, wide receivers makes a play. And it worked because Denzel and Greedy couldn't do anything. They couldn't stop it whatsoever. Chubb and Hunt, best running back duo in the NFL. We should be a more run-based team. I agree that they absolutely. I mean, this should be a team that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they should be the focal point on every single drive. But I think that Freddie and Todd Monken, I think they panic. I think they panic when teams start to make it close. And I'm kind of surprised it didn't happen against the Dolphins. Like, we saw it early in this game. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, they were getting things done. They were eating up the clock. They were, the Browns were using the run game and pass game in an efficient way. And they just gave up on it. They just gave up on it in the second half. And they put all the weight on Baker Mayfield because they panicked. I mean, even like late in the game, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, like they were still breaking off pretty solid runs when they did get the ball. And it's just depressing when they get neglected because they're the, two best players on your offense, except for maybe, Odell Beckham if he ever gets the ball. But those two players are great. They work really well together. The offense is far more, efficient and free-flowing when they're getting the ball consistently, and yet we don't give them the ball. I don't understand it. Imagine if we played every drive like we do the first drive. Yeah, that would be great. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't. It doesn't. For some reason, we always fall apart, and it's on coaching. And they just have to be more ready. They have to be more ready, and they haven't. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt to lifetime contracts. That'd be great. I'd love to have Nick Chubb his whole career. He's going to be one of the best running backs in the league year in and year out for the next 7, 8, 9 years. And I hope that whoever is the coach next year realizes that Nick Chubb is one of the best running backs in the NFL and that they need to give him the ball a lot. A lot. Yeah, I don't think Baker's the problem at all. I think Baker is a really good quarterback, and I think that when you put him in good situations, he can be great. Like, I mean, here's the thing that I've been thinking all season. If you took Lamar Jackson out of Baltimore and you put him in Cleveland, and if you took Baker out of Cleveland and put him in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson would probably be injured right now, and Baker would be on track to be MVP. It's coaching. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you have a crap system, a crappy offensive scheme, it's not going to work. The Browns need to get somebody who can mold their offense around Baker like John Harbaugh did for Lamar Jackson. And that's when things are going to start working. I don't know if Mike McCarthy's the answer. I mean, he's an experienced coach and he'll have the team ready, but is he the type of guy that can succeed in this modern NFL? Because the reason he's not the coach with the Green Bay Packers is because he was kind of stuck in the past with the schemes that he was running with Aaron Rodgers. I would love Lincoln Riley. I think Lincoln Riley could be a really good coach in the NFL. I think he can do great things with Baker Mayfield. But is he going to want to leave Oklahoma? I don't know. I mean, I think the Browns tried to get him this offseason, and he didn't want to leave Oklahoma, which is completely understandable. This is all on coaching. Any coach would have been better this year. Not Hugh Jackson. I disagree. I don't think Hugh Jackson would have been better. I mean, Freddie Kitchens has more wins right now than Hugh did in 3 years. And Hugh had Baker. Hugh had Baker for half a season. I mean, he didn't win any games that first half of last season. I think Hugh Jackson might be the worst head coach in NFL history. That's the only guy that would be, significantly way worse, I think, than Freddie Kitchens. Hugh was really bad. Greg Williams, I don't know, but see, Greg Williams, he had him ready last year. He had him prepared, all that. But I also think that if Greg Williams was a great head coach, I think he'd have a job. I think he would have a job right now. And he doesn't. I think Ryan Day is the best coach. Yeah, Ryan Day is destroying. Ryan Day is killing the rest of the rest of college football. Ohio State's they're too good. We should have kept Greg Williams, not John Harbaugh. Listen, I would take John Harbaugh right out of Baltimore. I don't think I would take Jim Harbaugh. Bring back Tim Couch. Heck yeah, man. Let's get Tim Couch back for quarterback. Yeah, let's get Tim Couch out there. I mean, the dude's only like Brady's age. He might be younger than Tom Brady. But Greg Williams' defense is like night and day compared to Steve Wilkes. Yeah, Steve Wilkes' defense. I don't know what's been wrong with Steve Wilkes' defense. I mean, there's been injuries, but even without the injuries, they just haven't been prepared. Pro Bowl left tackle. If only we had Joe Thomas, baby. That would be significantly, that would make things a lot better. Yeah. The Browns are not officially out of the playoffs, but the Browns are out of the playoffs. No McCarthy. I don't even know. Like who's the next big coach that's going to be on the market? I honestly don't know. Like who's going to be available this next season if we end up firing Freddie Kitchens? I have a feeling, and this is just all, this is all speculation based, but I have a feeling that John Dorsey, because of his ego, is going to want to give Freddie Kitchens the second season to try to get things right. Jason Garrett. That would be the ultimate Cleveland Browns move, bringing in Jason Garrett. Anyone is better than Kitchens. I don't know. See, I think that there are coaches that would be worse. I mean, I think Freddie has a good offensive system. I think that there are coaches that would have, I think there are coaches that would be worse, but I mean, like, which do you value more? Do you value a coach that can run the offense really well or a coach that has the team ready every week? Because we have a coach that can run the offense pretty well, but they're not ready every week. In fact, they're pretty consistently unready. How many Browns quarterbacks can you name? Let me think. Okay, since 2000, they had Tim Couch. I'm too tired to think about it. Pittsburgh finished it. You're right. You're right, Steel City Blitz. They killed us, and it's depressing. Sashi died for this. Poor Sashi. Sashi's with the Washington Wizards, baby. I think Sashi Brown had some pretty interesting philosophies when it came to team building. I swear I read in a book somewhere that the Browns' first plan, or it might have been like a website, I don't know. The Browns' first plan was to keep John Dorsey and Sashi Brown in the front office, and frankly, I think that would have been really good because Sashi Brown sure could acquire assets, but he had no idea who to draft ever. Tank for the rest of the season, kid from Georgia for left tackle. Browns aren't tanking, and even if they tanked, 5 wins isn't going to get you a great draft pick. It'll get you top 10, but it's not going to get you. It's not going to get you, top 3. Happy he got picked up. I would rather lost to the Bengals. Yeah. Dorsey would have turned Sashi to the GOAT. That would have been, yeah. I think, frankly, I honestly think a John Dorsey, Sashi Brown combination would have been really interesting because John Dorsey, he makes some really good picks. He makes some really bad picks, but I think overall he's a good player evaluator. And Sashi Brown, while he did not know football players too well in the first few rounds, that dude could absolutely bring in assets like it was the best thing, ever. Y'all are trash, never have been good, never will be. Completely true. Half of that is true. I think they'll be good eventually, but until now, the Browns have been bad. And it's depressing, and it makes me want to just start, crying. I just want to cry about the Browns. They've pushed me to this point. I was so excited. Kenny Britt. Oh, gosh, don't even bring up Kenny Britt. Final record prediction. I think the Browns are going to finish 7-9. And it's really sad. I think they're going to win 2 more games. Buddy Ryan. Isn't Buddy Ryan dead? Wait. Buddy Ryan. Rex Ryan. I would never hire Rex Ryan. That dude's senile. I hate Rex Ryan. Kick Steel City Blitz. Steel City Blitz. Listen. Steelers won, and it's depressing. We had to hear about this. Hey, we still split the season series with Pittsburgh. It's not like they dominated us. Once the Browns get a good coaching staff, they'll be really good. Yeah, listen. I think the big thing that we need right now is an offensive line. I think if you put an offensive line around Baker, give him time to make decisions, give him time to make his reads, like Duck Hodges was doing today, I think we'll see Baker absolutely, demolish other defenses. Dorsey expects and pays other people to do their jobs. How did this team beat Baltimore 40-25? It's a mystery. I have no idea how we beat Baltimore. It's crazy. Yeah, I think Myles Garrett would have made a big change in this game because I think Myles Garrett would have been all over Duck Hodges. I think Duck Hodges, I think that, in a few weeks, Duck Hodges is going to be on the bench. Mason Rudolph's going to be back in, and we're going to be wondering how we lost to him, and it's super depressing. I have not seen, I don't know who Brett Coleman's is, but I have not. We can beat the Ravens if our offense is clicking. Listen, I don't think we're going to beat the Ravens. No pass rush. Hodges had all day to throw. Yeah, that was the most evident thing to me. Was Devlin Hodges just being open all game. Just, not a soul around him. He had all the time in the world. He had a solid pocket all game. I mean, it's not even the Steelers, they were missing their center. You'd think that would mean something. It didn't whatsoever. Just awful. Shocked the Eagles lost to the Dolphins. Yeah, Eagles, something's wrong with the Eagles too. The Jets lost to the Bengals. The whole AFC North won today except for us. It's just, that just is, it's completely a Cleveland Browns thing. Bengals are probably going to get Chase Young, so we will have Lamar and Chase Young in our division. That's nightmare-worthy stuff. That's really, I never thought about it. I hope the Bengals go for Joe Burrow. That's his name. I hope that's who they go for. I hope that's who they end up taking. I think he's going to be good for them. And I would rather have him than Chase Young in the division. Mason Rudolph looks like a reindeer in headlights out there. Yeah, and I think that's what I'm saying. Duck Hodges, he has confidence. He has swagger. I think people were saying the same thing about Brandon Allen. And Brandon Allen's gone now. Drew Lock was the quarterback for them or whatever, whoever it was. I mean, the main point, Brandon Allen's gone. I think Duck Hodges is going to be gone. I think Duck Hodges is going to be an irrelevant quarterback. I think the only reason anybody's ever going to know about Duck Hodges is because he won a couple of games this season. Yeah, playoffs are done. The playoffs are absolutely out of reach for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, even if we win out and we go 9-7, like there's a lot of teams that are going to have tiebreakers over us. Specifically, the Titans. The Titans, I feel like, they're going to be right up there. Kitchens and Dorsey need to go. No, John Dorsey. I would not fire John Dorsey, specifically not right now, because I mean the Browns are frustrating, but it's not like they're awful. Like the Browns are frustrating because there's so much talent and you can see the potential because of the roster that John Dorsey put together. But coaching is what's holding us back because they're not prepared. 21-7. Yeah. We should never have fired Sashi. No, Sashi didn't know how to pick players. Duck plays better than Rudolph. Yeah, that's true. But like, I don't think Duck's going to be any great thing for Pittsburgh. I think they should just put Ben Roethlisberger back in. Just put him back in. Just let him run around out there or whatever. Let him do his thing, even though he's injured. Chase Young. Browns should go after Chase Young. Listen, Chase Young, Myles Garrett, whenever he comes back next year, that'd be great. But the Browns have already won too many games to be in the Chase Young conversation. Browns can be the only team who say we got next year. Yeah. I think if the Browns had professional, experienced veteran coaches, I think that we would have a lot more wins right now. But they don't. We have Freddie Kitchens, who's a rookie. That was the biggest risk with hiring him, and we're seeing it unfold. They're just not prepared, and it's we're seeing the risk that we were taking unfold, and it's just depressing. Duck is going to be the future of Pittsburgh. Yeah, I doubt it. Highly doubtful. But so those were my thoughts post game. Mostly just sad. Mostly just depressed about where we are and what we've become as a team. Offensive line was bad. Defensive line was not good. Duck Hodges absolutely killed us. I thought that Freddie Kitchens and the entire coaching staff, except for maybe special teams, underperformed. And this was really the quintessential Cleveland Browns loss of the 2019 NFL season. I'm going to call it a live stream. Thanks to everybody who watched and commented and all that stuff. And I will see you in my next whatever. Goodbye.